So, you want to break free from the matrix. Alright, you're like a lot of other people that are in a similar position of desiring to escape the environment that you chose to incarnate in, desiring to avoid what is, and choosing to not look at the inevitable, which is that your spirit made the conscious decision to have you incarnate here in human flesh in order to experience what currently is. Alright, so let's break this down. If you are wanting to escape the matrix, you are in a position of cognitive dissonance, or really soul-level dissonance, because you're choosing to disown the very nature of your decision to be human, to be experiencing the matrix construct. For important learning that you are here to understand. Realize that whenever you choose to disown an aspect of your experience, or even the entirety of this experience, what you're doing is choosing to defy what is. And that's the most painful condition that you can be imposing on your own consciousness. The position of avoidance, rejection, denial, choosing to not be in harmonious union with your own state of being. If you choose to clash against what is, know that you are never going to be feeling comfortable with yourself or with any condition around you. In fact, nothing can ever make you feel comfortable if you're choosing not to be in a position of inner alignment. Because unless you're in a position of inner alignment, there's always going to be some external factor that can deter you, that can make you feel that you here are meant to be victimized, that you need to clash against what is, because that is the only way that you can create alignment within yourself. Now, there are two very important things to understand about this. The first is that if you're in a position of wanting to change your orientation with life by changing the environment or by choosing to escape or avoid the matrix conditions, you're always going to be running away from something. And by choosing to expend your energy in the pursuit of avoidance, you're choosing to deflect the need to be the creator. You're choosing to seek the wrongdoings in other people or the wrong in the matrix environment without realizing that all that wrong is really here to inspire you to be paving the way for the new paradigm. If you're an individual who's currently feeling this avoidance or rejection of what currently is, the other very important thing to understand is that you are here to be creating a better world by transmuting this intention from rejection to the desire to establish the new. You can be using your pent-up anger, resistance, and avoidance of what is currently haunting you about the calamity and disturbances within the matrix system to be creating a new structure beginning with your own mindset. By changing your thought patterns and your notion of reality from feeling like you are the inferior being of consciousness that can only observe and only respond to what is, to the creator and to a microcosm of universal consciousness itself, you can be choosing to transmute this resistance into forward-moving action. And this is what needs to happen for you to start to escape the matrix, which really just means escaping the old paradigm way of thinking, which confines you to the matrix architecture. Think about it this way. If you are now wanting to escape the matrix, you're wanting to escape the old. You are tired of old conditioning, patterns, dogma, systemic structures, the establishment, rules, defective ways of reasoning and being, which keep you trapped in an old, archaic way of existence. You're choosing to see that there is a new way to live, a new way to be, a way to transcend the mind's conditioning and to live from the heart. You may be feeling that you can't clash against what is, but you also don't know how to be creating a new world for yourself. That this way of applying new earth consciousness really leads to suffering, because there's no current system in place that allows you to be experiencing freedom, love, and unconditional consciousness and full connection to the universe, because that system is now being created. We're in a very interesting time right now in the world. As we're currently going through this split, this can feel like a moment of transition on every level. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you may be feeling like you are currently departing from an old paradigm of being within yourself. And as such, the world around you is also changing. There's going to be a lot of destruction, a lot of calamity, a lot of feelings that we need to be now creating a new environment for ourselves, because the old is simply unsustainable. The old is going to be drawing into itself everything that has been outdated and leading to the traps of consciousness. A lot of people now are battling this archaic way of being. And by choosing to battle it, they're being drawn into it. This is what we need to understand as empathetic conscious souls. Many times we will choose to empathize to such a degree that we actually end up expending energy for no reason. In other words, this is the classic light worker syndrome. By choosing to fight against the dark, you're choosing to give away your light in light of the need for expansion. You're choosing to subject yourself to suffering because you don't think that there is a way to transcend the suffering altogether. And so what can happen is that by choosing to avoid your need to focus on the new and to birth new consciousness through your transcendence of the old matrix programming, you're choosing to place yourself in that same bubble of unconsciousness. You're choosing to subject yourself to more of the old ways of being by choosing to remain stuck in fear, in that conditioning, and in the lower conscious programs that are still affecting the collective. The thing that most people dislike about the matrix is that in this model, there is always duality. There's always a feeling that if there is a positive, there's going to be a negative. See my video on the paradox of existence for more on this. This classic trap of dualistic thinking can make you feel that it does not matter what you do. There is always going to be an equal and opposite effect that is created whenever you choose to create a positive change. When you choose to think positively, you're going to see the glaring negatives all around you. If you choose to transcend your suffering, you're going to have to go through the painful experience of first accepting it, which means you might not see that there's always a win-win. However, there is a way to transcend even this. There's a way to transcend the notion that the matrix is bad altogether, that the matrix is dualistic and hence leads to simply suffering. The people who believe the matrix is all about suffering will indeed end up suffering, because such is the nature of the program. The matrix in many ways functions as a mirror of our consciousness. It reflects our awareness. It allows us to receive what we feed into this karmic mirror of consciousness, because this matrix architecture is all about energetic transference. It's all about helping us understand our own energetic makeup by us receiving what it is that we put out. And so such is the science of our soul's imprinting in the matrix environment. Our soul comes in this matrix choosing to explore itself. And we do this by nature of understanding how everything responds to us as energetic beings. Even if you don't necessarily believe in energy or fully understand how it works, this idea of karma as an action of receiving everything that you give out, and vice versa, giving what it is that you receive, ends up showing you that there is nothing that does not have a cause and equal effect in the matrix. In the matrix, if you have any intention, any thought, any desire, that is going to be an energetic output that your mind produces, which has a tangible effect on your reality. When you accumulate enough thought forms, enough intentions, desires, or beliefs, you become subconsciously charged to orient yourself with that particular thing in your reality. Which means that even if you're harboring negative, unwanted beliefs, things that you choose to avoid, or escape, or fear, or cannot even fathom that things can be a different way because you simply accumulate enough of that particular negative thought form in your consciousness, you're going to be receiving the same thing in your reality. Which means that even if there's something that you want to prevent yourself from experiencing, the very act of focusing on it places it in your consciousness and feeds it into the mirror of consciousness that is your reality. This is why the people who despise the matrix tend to be the same ones who harbor a lot of these negative thought forms. And they may think that there is no escaping the inevitability of suffering because they're stuck in the conditioning model that suffering breeds more suffering, that they cannot escape their trauma, that there's no way to escape the linearity of the matrix program. However, it is actually not so linear in nature. It only is if you choose to believe in that. The key to understanding the matrix is actually working with it to challenge your notions of reality. Because the matrix is like a fluid program, a simulation if you will. It allows you to project new ideas, new beliefs, new energetic thought forms to produce a whole new reality. The matrix is a fluid identity. It is shifting with you. And so if you choose to befriend yourself, befriend your thoughts, your mentality, and your soul, you're going to be experiencing a much more harmonious kind of matrix experience. And that's simply because you choose to not be in resistance to it. I'll give you another example. If you choose to resist technology as a whole, you may be experiencing an interesting phenomenon, which is that technology is never on your side. You may know somebody, or maybe you yourself are not a fan of using technology. Maybe computers always fail on you, your phone always crashes. You hate how slow the internet can be. You're simply irritated by technology in itself. You may be surprised to know that technology is a part of the matrix, which means it's a part of the conscious web of existence. It's also energetically connected to you. Therefore, your thoughts influence your connection to technology. If you're somebody that's always in resistance to technology, you might start to feel that technology hates you. It's your enemy. It never works with you. And there's always going to be some failure, which makes you even more aggravated about the nature of technology. Well, guess what? If you choose to change your belief about how you relate to technology, technology will relate to you differently. And this is not because it's sentient or it's conscious. It's simply because you are consciously changing the way that the reality responds to you. If you choose to change your belief about how anything looks or feels or interacts with you within the matrix architecture, it will change. And so if there's anything that you specifically hate about the matrix, realize that the very act of hating it makes it so. If you choose to resist anything, it becomes the oppositional force in your life. It's an antithetical process in which, when you choose to resist anything, that resistance gets amplified. And so the very act of choosing to go against what is wreaks havoc on your entire experience. Let's go back to the initial point then. If you want to be escaping the matrix, there's most likely something specific or maybe a myriad of factors that are creating the suffering in your reality. You may want to escape the reality of unconsciousness in the collective, the amount of pain and suffering, the global crises, the need for money or the need to work in order to achieve abundance, the difficult relationships which can often plague our lives with a lot of issues and heartbreak, and karmic factors which are very difficult at times to transmute. Realize that if you're experiencing these difficulties within your matrix experience, your soul wanted you to be subjected to these factors. A part of you actually chose to be going through the unthinkable so that you can learn a very important lesson. Because underlying every single variable within the matrix is intentionality. If we think about the big picture, then the matrix is a perfectly constructed simulation allowing for the most experiential value that we can render as a soul. We need it to come from this higher dimensional plane of knowing and deep self-awareness into a space of amnesia, for us to have an experience of slowly waking up to the truth of who we are. This is the reality of needing to remember the core of your being, your essence, to realize the difference between yourself as a cosmic identity, a child of the universe, a soul with a higher frequency and intelligent nature, which is fully tapped into knowing and universal truth. And on the side of the matrix, you're experiencing yourself as a finite being with a singular identity, with an ego, with attachments and issues and different superficial needs, which make you feel a sense of conformity to the matrix. However, awakening is the very nature of realizing that you are lucid dreaming within the matrix, when you realize that you are not really this singular entity. You are not the identity or the I of your being. You are actually a soul hiding in a temporary human form in order to have this wake-up call. And that's when you can become the lucid dreamer in your reality. Realizing that you're not here to break free from the matrix, but rather to wake up to the fact that you're not really in the matrix. You're just dreaming a dream that is elaborate enough for you to experience life as a singular entity. This is the dream that consciousness is having in order to realize itself through one singular lens of perspective. This is the desire of a soul to enhance its experience by choosing to move into one of infinite lenses of perspective, to gain deeper awareness, to learn deeper empathy, and ultimately to learn more unconditional love through the experience of separation. The matrix can feel like an experience that frankly sucks because you're experiencing separateness here. You experience pain, suffering, heartbreak, loneliness, anxiety, depression, any myriad of these different experiences because you choose to perceive separation as the critical factor in your life. You see that as real. You see the pain and suffering as inevitable because you don't see that there's a way to bridge your identity to the soul of the entire universe. If you were to do that, you would start to realize that all of your pain, suffering, and the difficult feelings that plague your experience are present simply because you are still trying to reconcile different parts of you. You're trying to teach yourself an important lesson if you are wanting to break free from the matrix, which is essentially coming into full acceptance of who you are. If you're confused about why you are in the matrix, it isn't the matrix you need to try to fix. It's yourself that you need to self-actualize. You need to be realizing the importance of fully coming home to your own identity, as this temporary identity you are now experiencing is going to be the capsule for you to experience unconditional love for and through the matrix. The matrix is simply reflecting your ability to hold love for yourself. And so if you're unable to experience self-love, the matrix will always be a trap. And everybody who wants to escape the matrix is not experiencing adequate love for themselves. That lack of self-love can come through the experience of disturbance in childhood, not feeling unconditionally loved by parents, feeling rejected by society, feeling too different, too alien, if you will, too much of a nonconformist. And many of the very advanced old souls that come into the matrix to make this world a more beautiful one will first experience these feelings of alienation, isolation, confusion about the identity, and what even is the purpose of life. However, if you experience any of those feelings, know that you are on the verge of awakening. You're on the verge of truly understanding why you came down here, because it first begins with that confusion. It often first begins with the despair of feeling that there's too much unconsciousness in the world and that you don't fit into this world. And if that is the case, then know that as confirmation you are here to make this world a more beautiful one. You're here to uplift the frequency of the matrix by learning to realize your role in it. To realize you're not a separate, singular, unnecessary entity. You're an important aspect of the matrix foundation. And you're here to uplift this architecture to create a new earth for all of us. If all of us collectively who right now want to be breaking free from the matrix drop our arms of resistance and choose to look into the mirror of our own consciousness, we would see that we're all just simply experiencing the transition from a human, meaningless experience in which we are trapped and don't even know that we can't break free, into an experience of true intentionality, true purpose, in which we can learn to thrive in the matrix by realizing that this condition was never imposed to keep us stuck. We wouldn't come here if that was the case. We're not here to play a game against ourselves. We're here to play the game with ourselves and with the matrix. We're here to enjoy life. We're here to experience life as the creator, to fully enact the role of source consciousness in our body, through our minds, through our hearts, creating the change that we want to see in the world by realizing the matrix is here to support the consciousness expansion process, both on the individual and the collective level. The matrix will evolve as soon as we choose to do so. The matrix can also adopt any kind of change that we choose to succumb to, which means if we choose to plummet into fear, the matrix will accommodate that experience. If we choose to subject ourselves to higher states of consciousness, there will always be a way to connect via frequency and vibration to those same tiers of awareness within the matrix at large. Now is a time for a collective wake-up call, for us to wake up from our sleep, from our dormancy, and to choose to realize why we really are here. If you're still wanting to break free, it's time to wake up to your role, to realize you're not purposeless, and you're not here to experience rejection of what is. Rather, you're here to realize that you are here to create change. You're here to challenge the norms and to realize if this matrix feels defective to you, you're here to understand how to organize with other people to make it the world you really want to experience.